Happy Tuesday night. It's been about 5 weeks since we have played episode 18, which ended with quite an event and put us in a bit of a position. I think we should go ahead and get started. So it is the morning of the 23rd of spring rise, and we see the sun. It's rising above the prairie. We see kind of that yellow green tall grass as it's blanketed with the orange of the sunrise. And I think we start with Vasilla. Vasilla, you can feel kind of the warmth of the sun as it kind of reaches your face after a bit of a chilly late night, early morning as you kept watch. And I think I have you sitting on a rock, maybe a few yards away outside of where the tent and the fire are. And you've kind of kept watch while Sten slept inside the tent. Osric has been resting, broken, and Aldrich has been finishing up his last repacking and unpacking and repacking and unpacking of his gear. So Vasilla, as you're kind of sitting there, you feel kind of an itching, kind of an irritation on your side just above your hip.
Just it's freaking
Your hip, not your head.
God damn it. I'm gonna peek and pull up, look at it. It's like I'm gonna imagine it's not even red and ugly like normal skin would be.
Yeah,
I think it's
not really. Yeah, you lift it up, Vasilla, and you kind of look, and it's like right above your hip bone, right? So kind of just on the side of where your stomach below your rib cage, and it you can see it's irritated. And as you kind of put your hand down there, because it's just it itches. Kind of the skin starts to flake off, like the top layer of like puffed pastry. It just as soon as your fingers touch it, it just kind of flakes off, and there's this just deep gray raw skin under it, and it's tender, so that's where the itching's coming from, and it's definitely like a lower dermis as the top skin is peeling away, and it's roughly about the size of the palm of your hand.
I'm gonna scratch. I'm gonna hold the piece of skin and be like, "Well, make a wish."
And so we see the dead skin floating away like a butterfly. And let's go into the tent with Sten waking up. And Sten, as you wake up, even before you have a chance to kind of sit up or even roll over, you feel the same burning irritation, and it's kind of on the inside of your left forearm.
Well, I'm used to having some soreness there. It goes with the bracer and the bow. But kind of absently, rubs his hand over it without kind of thinking too much about what it is. As he's still kind of blinking his eyes open.
And it feels like your hands are hot, right? Your fingers are like a poker as soon as it touches that graying skin as it flakes away.
That wakes him right up.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Remind me, are we in individual tents, or now that we're on the road, I think
you have one big tent.
Mm-hmm.
You have one big tent, but you're the only one in the tent. So the other three have already slept. You were the one that kept watch last.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll get up and put some clothes on and head outside and see how bad everything is.
So you pull kind of the light canvas of the tent. As you kind of peer out, you see the sun has risen. The fire has not been tended, so it's just mostly coals and ashes. You can see really almost a silhouette of Vasilla on the rock. She's between you and the sun that's rising up. Over to your right, you see Aldrich. I think he's doing the last of his repacking of his backpack and piecing it together. And right there by the fire, we're almost right in front of you, is Osric, and he's just kind of sitting up but laying down up against a rock. And Osric, as you probably anticipated, you also feel a burning, but you can't quite see it because it's right above your shoulder blades, over your right shoulder. But as soon as you react to it and really it starts to irritate you, and you put your hand there, you get that same burning feeling, like the temperature of your fingers are wrong, right? It's like it's a burn, not a sting.
And I can imagine that at this point, Osric being completely broken of both strength and agility, he's largely, immobile and sort of bundled in blankets in every effort to sort of sweat this thing out. So even the idea of being able to reach back and scratch is almost foreign to him at this point.
Yeah, and I did a little reading up on being broken.
It's not good.
I can't imagine
Do a lot
why.
of things.
Yeah, you're limited to fast actions, right? So in my mind, for you, broken, you can still move around. You can still go
I don't
around,
think
but
I
there's
could
going to
do
be no
fast actions.
or just fast actions, right?
No fast actions. No
You,
other.
you can
I
still
can crawl.
move. Okay.
I can crawl because
All
they're
right.
physical. If you're broken with wits or empathy, then you can use.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're going to need help moving
Yes.
because you're okay. Gotcha.
Yes, I can crawl.
Yeah.
and
So you
no other
hear,
actions.
you can hear Sten coming out of the tent. And if you were half asleep, half awake, the touching of your back kind of ignites your awareness.
So, what are we gonna do?
Well, Heologia's poultice is still cooking, so that should. She said it would cure all kinds of rashes, and
All right.
I don't know. You're the magic man. This is a magic thing.
Speaking of which, there's Aldrich, right? And Aldrich is stuffing his pack and kind of giving the last little bit of pieces that didn't fit the 30 minutes ago, an hour ago, but suddenly because of a stitch here and a stitch there, and he's able to really get everything cinched up and kind of closes the pack up. And now, Aldrich, you look at the back of your right hand, and you two are seeing that flaking. Go ahead.
I don't have a right hand.
Oh, your left hand. Thank you.
Fair point.
Oh no!
You
It's
see,
the
you've
one
You've had a
place you
rough
can't
3
pick it
weeks,
out.
Aldrich.
You
The one
look at
place
your
you can't pick it off.
you look at the back of your only hand,
Mhm.
and you're seeing that same flaking that we talked about before. And as you go down to touch it, though, it flakes off just like I described for everybody else. But you have some very tender but very pink skin under it.
Interesting. See, I imagine it kind of comes across as he kind of rubs the raw skin on his pant leg, and then kind of looks at the tender flesh and just kind of tries to kind of look back at everyone else.
So, his skin, under the sore looks categorically different than mine. Ours.
No question. His looks like if you've ever had a really bad sunburn and you peel away the sunburn a little too early, you know how you got that kind of that raw skin under it, that pinkish raw skin that's just tender to the touch, a little sticky to the touch. Whereas for the other three of you, it is an unnatural gray, like a darkish gray. And when you touch it, it's not tender. It's painful.
I'm gonna get up and start at least feeding him the pain potion. I'll start with Osric. It's not gonna make it any better, big boy, but make it suck less.
And I can imagine him just rumbling back at you. And he barely has the strength to even speak. It's more of a mumbly sort of.
Yeah. Very tenderly wipe your face as it dribbles and go give the portions to everyone else.
Thanks.
Do I see? Is your hand visible as I try to give you your portion, Aldrich?
Yeah, like I think Aldrich's still kind of looking at it, and then like he would glance at like yours was on your side, so I'd probably be
Yeah,
looking
mine's
at
on your arm,
Osric.
on my arm. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'd probably be looking at Sten and Osric and just being like, I like how is Aldrich feeling, other than slightly tender in the hand?
Yeah, so I mean, you slept that quarter day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when you woke up, you still had that nausea that you felt violently after the incident. But and I don't know, maybe Aldrich, it was just the getting away from the world a little bit and just focusing on just a singular thing of I'm going to pack and unpack this bag and I'm going to make some adjustments and like the world washed away for a couple hours where you had one job and you were determined I'm not going to get done with this until I can get everything in this GD bag. And now that you've accomplished that, I think you were a little surprised when you hopped up at wow, maybe you've had a much better rest than you realized. And especially in comparison to how Vasil is moving and how Sten is moving, and obviously Osric's condition, you can tell something's different.
Okay. Vasila, save it for the three of you. I feel fine. Kind of show my hand and just like,
Well, then maybe there's a chance.
Maybe it's the ghost of your other hand.
possibly.
So
but
maybe you can, if you're well enough, maybe you can get to a town or a village or something.
that might be our best. Yeah.
Find the Gold Eyes. She knows things.
She'll find us if she wants to.
Yeah. I don't think there's any finding her.
I'm tired of owing her anything else anyway. But
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
Craig, tell
You're
me this. Is there anything in this world, like in our experience, like if someone has a disease or a plague, is there like, do they wear a bell? Do they wave a flag? Is there some way to sort of warn people, hey, there's a leper here or whatever it is?
I don't know if that would have ever happened in Oakenheart, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's true. We were in the village.
yeah,
ourselves the
and you
whole
never
time.
experienced a plague or anything along
Mhm.
those lines. So, I mean, I would, if Aldrich wants to come up with a best guess with his lore background, you don't need to roll with it. I think he can come up with something that maybe some people would recognize as a symbol of disease, but I don't think there's anything that you've had experience with, Stan.
Okay. Well, we the three of us anyway, we can't go near people. I don't know what this thing is, but
You should
maybe.
probably stay away for a little while longer anyway. Although,
Yeah.
that's natural rules. That's mom's rules, not any of this
Sure.
demon dragon bullshit.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't know. Either the rest of us are going to get better or we're not. I think we got to try. We got to assume that we're going to get better. But Aldrich, if you feel like going to try and find some place where someone might be able to send help,
Do we think that's the best solution?
I mean, hell, I don't know. I've never been dying before, but I don't know. I mean, hell, Osric's not in any shape to travel anywhere. I could go for a bit, but I'm not going to leave him here, and it's not like we can carry him.
Right.
So my thought is I'll go see if I can find us some food. Although I guess are we doing all right on supplies?
I have food still,
Yeah, my food and
I
water's good.
believe.
Yeah, I have decent food and water numbers.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, then I don't need to go hunting.
We
And
could
real quick, I'm just
make
going to
m-
interject for just a second, if I could. Sten, and I think it's just your nature. When you stepped out of the tent, you immediately survey, right? You what are my surroundings? What has changed since I went into the tent? The hunter and survivalist in you does that, and you noticed this, and it didn't register with you, nor should it, because it was just okay, that's there, this is here. But then you see it again. You're like, and you look back up again when it catches the corner of your eye, and you see a really large, not unnaturally large, but a large black bird that is kind of circling off, not over you, but relatively close to you, but pretty high up, a good 30 or 40 feet above you. And you saw it fly by, but now it's back. And now it's not just flying by anymore.
So it's circling something that is nearby, but not our camp.
Not really circling. It's just, I mean, it's staying close, but not too close to you.
Is it the damn shrieking ladies again?
I hope not.
It's not a harpy.
It's a bird, right?
Yeah, it's a bird. It's a large black
Like
bird.
Probably a crow or a raven.
Crow or a
along those
raven or something
lines.
like that. Yeah. Either could be
like a vulture,
naturally that size, but not a vulture.
Not yet.
If we
Feel like
get
I'm
attacked
throwing back.
again, Aldrich, you should run and hide. Like, there's no reason for you to get dead with us if it's the fucking brothers again.
Yeah.
Gods.
Yeah.
You got to protect the stuff, the artifacts. Like, we can't let demon worshippers have them.
Rust is synonymous with the worm.
No,
Not-
Rust is the raven.
Rust is the raven.
Oh.
Why was I backwards? All right, well, that helps.
Yeah, so the Rust brothers believe it's not significant that the bird was a bird, is that the bird was metal. And so that's why they worship metal. That's why they worship Rust. And it's not a snake that it was carrying, it just happened to be a snake, but it was wood, and that's what's significant. Whereas there's others that think the animals are truly the significant piece.
Right.
It's interesting mythology. Cool. But if that's their thing, right? Ravens, crows, probably means the harpies are goddamn sycophants of the stupid jackasses. But you got to get out of here. We can't let demon worshippers, like, they eat children. They eat fucking children, dude.
All right.
Like, I don't want to get dead either. But if you go and find help, at least you get away with the king's artifacts, right?
What do we got? The Hollows was like almost a day's travel north.
Yeah.
God.
And if it matters, this raven is definitely favoring the northwest.
Okay.
Well, might mean something.
I can.
Might mean
Take it.
nothing.
I mean, we've been out here 3 weeks and everything means it's shit.
Yeah.
That's not incorrect, Priscilla.
Sorry for
Well.
those children at home if you're watching this. Cursed a lot in the last 5 minutes.
Vasilla's. You go watch earlier episodes. It was a softer Vasilla back then.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which seems fair given that the last 3 weeks were
Very
terrible.
Life makes you hard, man.
It does.
All right.
So yeah, Craig, are there any like high areas around here? I know we're not in like hills proper, but is there any place where I could try and get some elevation to see a little farther around us?
Probably not enough, but from where you are, you can definitely still see the tops of the mountains to the south, which, you guys were traveling to the north and then to the west of them, and they were to your south. And you can still see them. They're maybe 12, 13 miles, maybe 15 miles to your south, but you can obviously see them, though they're not, they're not the Rockies. They're more like the
Right.
Adirondacks, right?
Right.
But no, this is pretty flat land. This is straight up grassland. So it's not perfectly flat, but there's not knolls or anything like that that'll improve what you can see much better.
Okay. And then the other question I had is, if we say that Aldrich were to make it back to the Hollows, is there anyone there who is the kind of healer that could deal with this? I mean, do we have a healer as such? I mean, I guess we have somebody who can set broken bones and whatever, but
Wait,
So you
when you
did
say we, you're talking about Oakhart, which is not the Hollows.
right. Sorry, Oakhart. Yes, is what I was thinking. My bad.
so there was definitely a woman at Oakhart who was the herbalist, and she was the healer. There was never a sense of it was magic. It was
Right.
always very
Yeah, and I was confusing the map, so
Yeah.
Oakhart is well beyond reach. Anyway,
Oakhart,
so
Yeah.
Oakhart is
I
probably
withdraw the question.
a day. Now,
Right.
I also
Other-
don't specifically remember if we encountered a healer in the Hollows.
no, but you knew
but
you were
you
told
could imagine
of
it's a significant settlement, so I could imagine.
yeah,
it was that
and
one.
you did there was passing memory or message mention of a midwife who was Navia was her name, and she was talked of as kind of the town healer, but they call her the midwife. And I think it was in the tavern that was mentioned to you briefly,
The
but you
flip
never
side of the-
encountered her.
Right.
The flip side of the coin is the town has a resident Rust brother, and we're
I mean,
Totally fine.
not on
yes.
their good side.
Persona non grata. Yeah. Ironically, the midwife went to help those dwarfs in the.
Oh dear.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well,
It
What are we
may be
thinking?
better than nothing, or
I suppose I'll make with as much haste as I can. Try to stay well.
we'll do what we can. You just be safe.
Here,
Okay.
take these.
And-
Take this pack. When you get tired, you can put them under your tongue, and it'll make you run faster. Or so says Jaya.
Thank you.
So Sten kind of, gets up probably under the pretense of handing off like, an extra bit of rations or whatever, or, talking about the land. Then he just kind of, clasps Aldrich's, arm in his, and he just says, he just looks him straight in the eye and says, "Do what you have to do. We'll be all right."
I will.
Okay.
Remember when you get tired, just think of his ugly face. You'll run faster.
So are we sending Aldrich out?
I mean,
Seems to be the plan.
I could go with him for a while, but I don't have any arrows, and then these two would be. I mean, I'm not sure I could help
I
if
can't
anything
go.
happened to us anyway. Yeah, you cannot go.
Yeah.
I'm physically incapable of
Yep.
going with him.
Yep.
I'm also physically incapable of stopping him from going.
Right.
All right, so
Uh,
here's what I'm going to offer you then is I will offer like Sten to walk with you for a bit, I will allow Sten to do the make way roll.
Okay.
That would be
Um,
awesome.
That'll help.
Yeah, but you Aldrich will have to make the I forget what it is, keep watch or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, scouting.
They'll
Yeah.
lead the way.
Yeah, to lead the way. So if we want to go over to the group sheet and go ahead and put yourselves in the position and then make the roll.
Is there a dying position on the group sheet?
Rest.
Other.
Rest.
So,
Parenthesis.
or you said,
Final.
so you said you wanted me to do lead the way, or
Yeah, you can make the lead the way roll for him.
Okay, so I'll keep
Are-
watch.
Are you taking respite and the scepter?
I was gonna take the scepter. I don't know about. But the scepter.
Or do we,
Scepter
do we
like
bury?
drops me if I.
Scepter's
Like,
gonna
I mean,
So,
I'll
do we-
I'll carry, like, if I'm going with you for a quarter day, I'll carry it for a quarter day.
We can bury it as
if it
well.
helps. Yeah, that's true. We'll bury it straight under the tent. So
yeah, because
if
I
anything
can't.
happens,
I
you'll
can't
know
travel
where.
that. I can't travel that far with the scepter on my own.
And a reminder that Rustbite is not that kind of relic. We don't believe that.
Right, we don't.
Rustbite-
It's not as important.
I'd
to
rather
preserve
you
it.
have Rustbite and like one of you try to swing at something
Yeah.
that potentially threatens you rather than
Yeah.
me needing it. I've got the battle axe now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave the scepter with you guys, and you can bury it, I guess. Keep
Yeah,
it
and just
safe.
on your character sheet, Aldrich, just go to dropped, and we'll
I
just know.
don't think I have it currently, anyways.
I
so
might
Oh,
have
okay.
it in my
I
sheet.
think
Got
Vasilla
it.
still has it.
We've been handing it around.
Has it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So and Vasilla, did you take the damage for it yet?
No, I don't believe so. The neck hakas. And what do I take on this?
Agility and wits.
Agility drops me, so either I drop or I guess we don't bury it, or I guess because none of us are
We
holding
just have left
but-
it in the tent without anyone.
Okay, I'm
carrying
fine with
it?
that. Yep.
Okay.
So don't take the damage, Vasilla. We've got it in the tent, and
Yeah, because we know it's
So do
sucking
I.
our energies out, so maybe we've
Aldrich
hidden
has
it.
made that clear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
this is a bad time to have that.
And
We've
obviously
learned
last
well
night
enough.
we knew we were getting our asses
Mhm.
whooped by diseases, so we're like,
Yep.
okay.
All right, so let's see some rolls here.
Okay,
Do you want to lead?
I'm doing that thing.
Lead with the lead?
Dice, our friends.
Apparently not.
Well, I'm just going to spend a willpower point because I don't want
Oh.
to risk anything.
And
happening.
why? And let's tell the audience why you can do that.
Because I have Path of the Forest talent, which means that if I forage, hunt, or lead the way, I can succeed automatically if I spend a willpower point even after the roll. So I do that thing, and basically, Sten is keeping up, but it's obviously costing him a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But he's there's a point where you're going up. It's just like a slight slope that would never even really be a problem, and he just kind of stops there and puts his hand on his knees for a few seconds. And he's like, "No, I'm good." And you can see that it's basically just force of will that's keeping him going. He's trying to tell Aldrich along the way, yeah, well, if you see stuff like that, that usually means there's water in that area, so you want to go around it. And he knows it's not going to be enough, but he feels like he has to say
Crash
something.
course.
Yeah, exactly. Survival 101.
All right, I will keep watch. I'm not wearing the great helm. Get that off. Oh, I am.
There you go.
I'm
I can
head
see
in the
great
game.
without this thing.
Head in the game today, apparently.
And
Hyper vigilant. He
I
definitely
guess
noticed.
I guess I need to know, Aldrich, what direction are you going?
I think you said there was the bird flying overhead to the northwest.
You want to go northwest then, kind
I
of
think I
towards
want to
where
kind
the
of
bird is?
curve. Yeah, I'm gonna curve around northwest and see if there's anything immediate.
All right. So I've got a couple rolls to do here real quick.
Sorry.
Okay. And then for those of you watching, these guys can't see these. Okay. So let's take you to the northwest.
Everything is on fire.
I would not even be slightly surprised.
Okay.
Turns out our campfire gets up and walks away and follows you.
Oh boy, a friend.
So, Aldrich, as you're kind of working your way through, and at times this grasslands gets as high as like your rib cage, other times it's below your hips. It varies as you're making the journey through. As crisp as the morning was, it's partly cloudy out, actually kind of nice. And, to a certain degree, 4's a crowd. And now as you're walking, you can hear, right? You can hear the wind, you can hear the birds. Um, Speaking of which, this large bird has kept a pretty constant distance, but has been pretty consistent in which way on the compass that it has been keeping its distance. And a few times when you've maybe stopped, maybe took a sip of water, or kind of tried, okay, Sten told me this, and I think if the sun's here, and you're trying to get your Boy Scout badge, the bird stopped progressing. So it has kept a pretty consistent distance. There's a kind of a line of bushes, just a natural just row of bushes, and you kind of look off to your right and to your left, and you look to, and there's no berries or anything in it, and you kind of work your way through it, and your foot, like, it kind of steps into kind of a damp area, just on the other side of these bushes, and you look down, and it's kind of this murkish, like, puddle of muddy water, and you just continue on with a wet left foot, as you're walking. But then we see Aldrich kind of, and like, you kind of like shake your eyes a little bit, and it's just a swarm, and it starts slowly but builds very quickly, of just these biting insects, and they are completely focused on you. And we see you, Aldrich, just, and you can feel their little bites, their little stings, as they're biting into you.
God. Oh man. This is not where I want to have to go crazy against a swarm of mosquitoes.
All right, I need to make a roll real quick.
Uh-oh.
Which I'm gonna do.
That's
I
never
do.
good.
Another secret roll.
Yeah.
Secret.
Even mosquitoes.
All right, it won't let me make that roll. I'm gonna get some dice. I'll be right back.
Emergency backup dice.
Huh.
Quick, vamp till ready.
Ah! 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 This is what's happening.
Yeah, pretty much.
Ah! Very hard
Did
to
you
do
take
one
some
handed.
bad acid?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all die of
version
magic
10,000.
disease. You die of malaria, it turns out.
Great, cool. What an improvement.
All right, go old school here. Let me get some D6s. You just take 2 damage to your empathy.
Oh, well,
Empathy.
that's not good.
I hate people so much when I'm bitten by insects.
And it's enraging you, Aldrich. It's just, you can't get away from it. You move, and it's just, these things are on you, and it's not hurting you, but for crying out loud, right?
Right. Of all things.
And everything you try, Aldrich, does, and finally they just kind of go away, and you can see the bumps on your skin, and it's just, and it's just scratch. What does that do to your empathy?
Puts me down to 1.
All
This
right.
is fine.
I mean, I can see how a person might get to the edge of like giving any
Uh-huh.
Fs.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right.
This set of circumstances.
First time I'm on my own and I get swarmed by mosquitoes, just like, oh my god.
Why
My
don't you just
dying
make some
friends.
magic to send them away? Why don't you do that? That solves all the
It's
problems.
like a breeze.
You know, you could just
I mean-
fly away. You know how you get there faster if you flew.
Sadly, flight only
You
lasts one
monster.
round.
Oh,
So just real quick,
I considered
mechanically, for those watching, that was the make the way mishap for failing a make the way roll. So that's where our swarm of mosquitoes came from.
no, wait.
You willpowered to make
I
it work. Benny.
willpowered it.
Oh,
I
you
succeeded with
willpowered
the
it.
wall.
Put your empathy back.
Yeah.
Don't.
Damn it.
I literally specifically warned him about where you could see wet ground.
You're right. You did. I'm sorry. That was still fun. Put your empathy back. I forgot that
Yep.
you willpowered it.
So if we were
Time warp.
watching a
Oh man, look at
TV
that swarm of
show, you
mosquitoes.
see him
I'm gonna
like
go
about
Man, I
to
would
put his
hate to
foot
be in
down.
there.
Man, everybody watching at home, I'm trying to kill these sons of bitches. They won't let me.
Tenacious.
Aldrich, as the mosquitoes that do no damage kind of clear out. And just so you know, it was 4d6 and I rolled 2 6s. That's how the 2 damage came from. And, Sidewinder in the chat's like, damn, brutal roll.
You see this, people at home. He's trying.
As that clears and you continue kind of heading northwest, you see to the west, going from north to south, what you anticipated and what Sten warned you of, that if you keep heading that way, you should hit a river, right? Because he remembered the river heading south off of the hollows.
Yeah.
And as you're going with that 4 keep watch successes by the river, you see our large bird land. But it doesn't land on a tree. Doesn't land on the ground. It lands on the shoulder of somebody. And the somebody seems to be not standing. Seems to be in like a wrap, like clothing, like, and it seems to be a person size. But it's hard to tell anything about them from where you are. But they seem to be kind of leaning over and doing something with the water, right? So whether it be filling a water skin or washing something, it's really, really hard to tell. But with that keep watch roll, I'm going to have you easily 200, 250 yards away from whoever this is or whatever this is. But it is where this large blackbird landed.
Probably hard to tell from the distance, as it looked like they're armed.
They could be.
Okay.
There's nothing indicating it though, if you know what I mean.
Okay. I think at this point, Aldrich's pretty desperate. He would approach just like the one hand up. Hey there. Hello?
How close are you going to be when you say that?
How far did you say I was to start?
Yeah, about 250 yards.
We'll
I
break
figure
about half.
Okay, about get within 100 yards and they could hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll have you about a football field away.
Yeah. Like
And-
slowly approaching.
Yep. And they stand and they turn around. And now that you're closer, you're getting a better view. And you can see that, and though this is not obviously fitting for the setting, but I think it'll be a good touchstone. It's definitely a woman, you can tell, with the long black hair and kind of the fair skin. Maybe hard to tell exactly, but maybe middle age, maybe a little bit older. Either it's a very light hair or maybe gray hair. It's tough to tell, but cloaked in kind of a Romani type style clothing, right? Kind of layered layers. And as she stands up, you do see she does have a pretty big staff in her hand, which she kind of lifts up off the ground. And I hear things are tough.
Oh, yes, absolutely they are. I seek a healer. My friends have come deathly ill. At the very least, if you could even maybe help get me to town, so I could pay well.
Which town?
I mean, the nearest I know of is the Hollows, but they're not the most friendly of people. But wherever I could get to the quickest, where there would be a healer.
I
Again,
think
desperate.
you would still be seen as a friend in the Hollows. or we could go south to Millstone. But let's look at you first. And she
All
starts to
right.
walk towards you.
And I'll approach her as well. Pick up the pace a little bit.
As she approaches and as you approach, no sense of danger, right? I'm not sure what your danger sense would be at this point. You're a little bit
It's
of
not
a
Sixth Sense.
yeah, a little bit of like whatever, like I need something, right?
I guess the one thing I'd be maybe cognizant of is if she smells of magic. And I might not even be focusing on that, but she does seem like an odd sort.
Yeah,
What with the
yeah.
weird bird and such.
And remind me, the sense magic is automatic, right?
Yeah, I always have like an innate magic sense, and then if I have to focus, I have to spend willpower for it.
She's more than natural,
Okay.
right? Though it's different than what you've sensed before. But there's not a darkness. You don't feel that. You don't taste that tinny feeling that you've had at Weatherstone when you encountered some of that darker magic. So, but yeah, she's more. She's more. And as she gets closer, you see the bird kind of go to her ear. And she nods. And the bird takes off. And it flies in a non-threatening way towards you. And as it passes over you, you get a good look at it. And its yellow eyes.
Of course.
So she says, "No, Aldrich, you've not mentioned your name.
Mhm.
Why don't you sit?"
All right, but it is quite a hurry. I feel like they don't have much time.
Let me see your hand.
And I offer my hand.
And she looks at it and she says, "Is this happening anywhere else?"
Not that I've noticed. This is the only spot that I've had, and it's better condition than my friends.
So she spits into her hand and she reaches into a pouch towards the back of her belt that she has on, and you see it's hard to tell, like some sort of greenish tinted dirt, mud, or something like that. And you see her kind of clear an area near you, like pull the grass out so there's exposed dirt. And she kind of digs into the dirt and she smashes her hand into the dirt and kind of scoops it up. And you can see it's almost like a clay. And she takes this clay and she says, "May I?"
Yes.
And she kind of smears it over your wound, over your exposed raw skin. And she says, you definitely have been touched. You definitely, but you're healing. She goes, "This will speed it up a bit, but what about your friends? Do they look the same?"
Theirs are worse. They look more decayed. It looks bad. It's the flesh is grayed and
And is this your doing?
yes. Yes it is.
Have you been reckless?
I suppose I was.
So she kind of wipes her hand on the cloth. And as she's doing that, it pulls away like one of the scarves that she kind of had wrapped over her. And as that scarf pulls away, there's something that catches your eye. And it's something she wasn't trying to show you, but I don't know if she was trying to hide it, right? But it wasn't like the gesture was to say, "Hey, look what I have," right? So, but you notice it. And tied to a very tightly woven, like braided rope, there is a pennant. there's a couple things, about 3 major things that you notice about this pennant. One, it's the symbol of rust. You've seen that before. 2, you've seen this pennant before. Around the neck of someone at the Hollows who told you to leave town. And the third thing you see is there's blood on it. Let's take a quick 10-minute break. We'll be right back. All right. So we have, actually, I want to cut to our campers because you all do have a quarter day.
Hooray!
So, how do we wish to spend this quarter day?
So while Sten was off beginning to guide Aldrich, I'm going to go bury the mace, the scepter. I'm gonna try to. We moved away from the battleground, right, where we fought the brother.
Oh yeah,
the harpies and everything.
Yep.
So I guess. Is there any like thing that is remarkable about this area, like a stone or?
Yep. You tell me what it is.
Okay, I'm going to think that it is a. I'm going to imagine that it is a stone that like just like kind of like comes out of it, like up against, I don't know, like a fallen tree that's like rotted out a little bit.
Perfect.
A little tree that like fell over, and I'm going to bury it under as best I can in under the tree so that like it gets under the rot, and then I'm going to take rust bite and just like hack at the stump to try to like the rotten stump to try to like break it up a little bit more so it doesn't look like I literally just buried a thing there. I'm going to curse a lot during that in a very unladylike way because my side is falling apart. And it is.
Do you have anything in
painful.
survival?
I do not. I don't think.
Right.
So I'm going to make sure to. So the best I can do.
All right.
Apparently, probably chopping down a piece of wood is not the best way to like hide something, but like, fine.
Well, and you
Better
can
than
take a
nothing.
survival roll using just your wits alone, right?
Yeah, just using just your wits. So why don't we do that?
All right, let me get to the right screen so I can see things. Wits roll. Hiya.
Not bad.
I'm gonna go ahead and push that anyway because Vasil is very into trying to hide this correctly.
Yeah, and more
that's
successes would matter.
That's fair.
So
Oh, nice.
very nice. So
All
2
right.
successes.
Solid use of rust bite.
Yeah. In my hands, we shall rename it Tree Bite.
Dirt digger.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. So you're in the process of burying that. Osric, anything that you
Can do.
I'm gonna crawl from one side of the site back to the other.
okay?
I think
Get your steps in.
to the degree that he can, which I think is very minimal. I think that he will make efforts to do things like ensure that there's like a log on the fire so that the fire keeps going, things like that. But I think
Can you write as in your broken state?
the book says I can take no action except crawl. I can crawl, mumble, and wheeze are my 3 choices.
But you could do all of that in 1 quarter day.
Exactly. I'm
We're
gonna
very
crawl
proud.
a lot, and I'm gonna do a lot of wheezing.
So what I'm imagining, Jim, and tell me if you're not okay with this. I'm imagining Osric out of just sheer frustration. Like I've got to do something, and in the time it would take Vasilla, 3 or 4 minutes to gather some wood a little bit and kind of put it on the fire. It's taking you hours of sliding over here and throwing this little log here and just tending to the fire with a stick. How about Sten?
Well, I'm assuming that I spent like half the quarter day getting Aldrich on his way, and
Sure.
then kind of and I'm probably coming back slower because
Great.
I don't have to look good. So I probably just kind of get back to the camp around the end of the quarter day, just looking like shit. But it's like, okay, no one's dead yet. Good.
All right, so we're gonna finish off that quarter day, but let's finish it off cutting back to Aldrich. And Aldrich, as you're walking with this woman, as you're taking her back the path that you took, and there's no rolls needed in this case, because you're going there, so there's no make way. We do need a keep watch roll. So if you give me a quick keep watch.
Bring up the old party sheets. Keep
You're
watch.
good at this.
As long as I don't wear my helmet.
But you don't have to do a lead the way. Very nice. Very nice. You're very attuned. As you work your way back, there's a lot of silence. And she says, "You said you've been irresponsible."
It occurs to me I never asked your name or what I may call you.
We did not meet in the Hollows, but you may have heard me. Some call me midwife. Some call me by my name, Nervia. I've been down in Millstone for a bit and was heading back to the Hollows.
It is amazing fortune that I came across you then.
Yeah, fortune's a good word for it.
I have magic, but I lack control sometimes. And that is, I found, often a liability. But sometimes I still lean on it without thinking, especially when I raise my one arm, my current state.
So tell me about your parents.
I never knew my mother. She passed away before I grew. My father was, well, in many ways, a hero to me.
Why?
He always made sure everyone was looked after, especially me, and being it was just the two of us during the years of the mist. And when I thought I'd lost him, I was devastated, and it wasn't much better when he came back and he had lost his mind.
I think if ever you make it back, ask about your mother. I think you deserve to know more about her.
I think you're right. Anyway, we should make haste.
I agree. So as slowly the grasslands, as you continue on, you can see the smoke maybe from an afternoon fire that's been kept going. It's not a stoked fire, but it lets you know that you're headed back to where you left everybody. And Sten, you notice Aldrich's not returning alone.
But I recognize Aldrich from a
You do
distance.
immediately.
I mean, he's the guy with one arm. Okay.
But pretty unique silhouette.
A very unique
Is
silhouette.
it though?
So
In
yeah,
the
so
Forbidden Lands, it's not that unique.
I
I'm
would
also
just
like
say,
6'3", so
Sure. Yeah. He's coming back. He's got somebody with him. God's willing, it's somebody who knows how to treat this. And I just kind of will stand up and wave like an idiot.
I'd wave
'cause,
back.
You know.
I'm gonna look up from my. I was entertaining Osric to keep his spirits up by I'm writing our heroic ballad of our.
And
group.
Osric's here like, oh, please let me die. Please let me die.
It's like, what do you think about that?
Please spread.
But I grab when I see Sten stand up, pointing at his picture on the Zoom call is very helpful. So I pick up when I see Sten going. I pick up Rustbite and I drag it behind me and I hand it to him, to Sten. You do that, right? I've got the knife. I'll take care of Osric if I need to.
No.
You can't wield it. It's me sized.
I can't either. He just kind of sticks it in the ground.
So who you
Actually-
just waved? Who's here?
I said Aldrich's coming back and he's got somebody with him. He doesn't look like he's being held hostage. I would actually take Rustbite and bring it over to Osric, and I'm like, all right, it's all right. Somebody's coming. We'll have help soon. Stay with me.
All right, so I'm not on kill Osric duty, so he doesn't get tortured.
Jeez.
Not again, Dave. Not again.
We're
Is that
sure
gonna
we're
be a
sure these
theme for us as
we're sure they aren't
players.
Rust brothers. We're sure they are not.
Well,
Rust
Aldrich
brothers.
isn't.
Well, yeah, but he's Aldrich.
This one looks like a Rust
Whoa!
sister, if anything.
It's true. I've never heard of a Rust sister.
So
I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
Good. I'm done.
Okay. So they reach camp. Aldrich, I'll put you in charge of introductions.
Yeah. Well, her name was Nivea.
Nivea. Yeah, midwife Nivea.
Sten, Vasila, Osric. This is Nivea. She's the wet nurse from the Hollows.
Well, I don't know if you can do anything, but thanks for coming. This Osric's real bad off.
I kind of look Sten dead in the eyes.
Mhm.
She seems quite skilled in the arts of healing.
Well, God's willing, you're right.
I lift my hand too.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of.
And as you do, kind of that clay that was on your hand kind of cakes off, and you can tell where this wound or patch was, but the color of it is almost perfectly matches. Someone would have to look or know to look to really recognize that wound was there. So she heads over to you, Osric.
I'm gonna move out of the way. I was standing there with my knife hidden underneath my guarding Osric, and I'm like, all right, well.
And as she approaches, she gets within about 15 feet of any of you other than Aldrich. And she stops and she goes, I please don't be offended. And she reaches into her pocket and behind her, one of her shawls, and pulls out a silk. And you see her wrap it around her head. She pulls
She's
her
gonna
hood
rob
off.
us.
And she's got gray and black streaked hair, which you really can see as she pulls her cowl back, and she kind of ties it around and she tucks it in, covering her face. And then she comes over and she pulls another cloth out. And she gets down on one knee by you, Osric, and she says, Old man, show me where it is.
I was assuming she was talking to Sten. So,
She's talking to
oh,
Ostrich. There's
okay.
another old man in the camp
Oh,
now.
fine.
So I think that to the best of his ability, he's going to sort of try to roll himself over and point in the general direction of his back.
So you see her start the same ritual, or Aldrich, you recognize this ritual of the spitting in the hand, getting some sort of grayish green something from her patch. She mashes it and digs it into the ground and pulls this clay out. And you see her starting to spread that on there. And then she, with her other hand, as she's doing that, she grabs a clump of it and she puts it towards you, Facilla.
Mhm.
And she goes, I need you to take this and make tea.
I used tumble grass and giant hair and a little bit of ghost powder when I treated it earlier.
I need you to take this and make tea.
I'll take it.
Yep.
Start making tea.
Okay. All right. Let's have the midwife do a little bit of rolling here. Now she's using clay, which with the healing spell gives her +1 power to her healing hands. And she's going to use 1 willpower. So this is going to end up being power level 2 because she's using the ingredient. And with healing hands, let's go ahead and take a look at it real quick. So I'm not working from memory. So you can heal damage to strength or agility by laying your hands on the wounded. You immediately heal a number of points equal to the power level. The spell does not affect critical injuries, and you cannot heal yourself. So she's going to go ahead and do this to your strength, Osric. So you end up healing 2 strength.
Still broken.
So as she sets that, she looks to both Vasilla and Sten, and she goes, "Who else?"
Well, we've all got it. Sten shows his arm.
So she does the same. So we'll do another healing hands roll with an ingredient. All right. So that is going to be 2, and you get to decide, Sten, you want that to be to agility or to strength?
And I'm assuming we can't split it, right?
Correct.
All right, so I would make it agility.
Okay. And then last but not least for Vasilla.
I'll come over and show her my side.
Okay, same thing. Where would you like those 2 to go?
I'm going to take them back in agility.
Okay. So as that's happening, I'll let you guys decide if we're just going to watch, if we're going, or if any discussions need to happen. But she is just methodically doing the same thing over and over again as you make the tea, Vasilla. And it's mud, right? It's just mud water because most of it was clay that was in here. There was a couple herbs that obviously something came from her pack at the same time, but she's giving them to all 4 of you and just telling you to sip on it. There's no rush.
I'll do it.
Yeah, for sure. Is the when she rubbed the clay on our side or whatever, our infected area, was it like an instantaneous improvement?
It was a cooling feeling, right? So that burning, itching, it cools you. And just mechanically, for those of you who are watching right now, this disease that they have is a virulence of 11. So she would, in order to, she has the spell, but she doesn't have the willpower to cure this disease. She would need to spend 11 willpower to do this, or 10 if she had the ingredient. And she doesn't have that. So the only thing that she's in a position to do is to do this healing hands, which for the disease is the only way for them to recover either strength or agility is through magical healing. So she's able to do that, but she's not going to be able to cure this disease. So that's the feeling. It feels better, right?
Yeah.
So it's and in some ways, I'm imagining, Vasilla, it's almost as much physical as mental, right? Because just that constant itch and burn, and
Yeah,
just you obsess
the
about it being there, and you look at it over and over again. And for this little period of time while this mud is drying on that area, you aren't just completely consumed by the thought of this.
So, like I said, I've been making a poultice for us as well. Now that what did you do? Why did my brain works? Is it a like a like the black water in the mornings that like makes your brain work? Like, what did you do? Can you teach me that if we make it?
So pump your brakes, she says.
I don't understand that metaphor.
So she goes, well, this is where we came from, and she kind of gestures to the soil, and that's where we end, is here. And with the right combination, and you see her kind of gaze up as she's trying to search for the words, and she says, in the right focus, we can pull some of that energy back up from the ground. She goes, as you are playing with this, as you're learning it, be careful. But just know that the raven has blessed this land. And there's healing that comes from everything around us.
Sorry, go ahead.
As I go back to the fire to tend to the tea and the poultice that I was working on previously, which I'll do both, like Vasilla actually starts singing again to herself, like back under her breath, like she does all of the time. Whenever she's just around, she's always like humming to herself, and she starts doing that again, which she had not done for a while.
Do you have you don't have the spell, but you have the healing skill, right? Right, Dave?
I do have a healing skill, and I'm intending on trading the Hymn of Song, which will give us, or the Path of Song, or the Path of Hymns, or whatever it is, the one that lets me heal as the Bard class.
Gotcha. It gives you access to the healing school.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, good.
Yeah. So it's
good.
not
We
like
have
a
a nice
spell
little,
as such, but yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and we've got a nice little hook here to kind of tie that in
Yeah.
if that does end up happening. So that's cool.
Cool. I'm gonna depending on what you guys want to do and talk, because I feel like I monopolized there for a second. Apologies. I am going to administer the potion that I've been brewing as well, assuming that she is for it, to try to use my medicine roll for the against the poison or against the disease overnight, like we're doing for Oscar.
We've already done that for today. We did that
Okay.
at the end of at the end of 18.
Okay.
So tomorrow we'll have to do that.
Cool.
But I do think that there's might be a moment, Vasilla, where I can just see you seeing this, right? Because this is like, holy shit, like, wow,
Yeah.
right? And closer tied to the women that you had spent so much time with at Amber's Peak.
Mhm.
And I'm imagining a scene, if you're okay with it, with you kind of skittering away after she gives you this speech about the earth and the blessed land and stuff, and
Mhm.
you're kind of messing with things and maybe kind of checking your little stuff over there. And I do like the idea of a moment where she comes over and maybe looks over your shoulder and maybe takes some of this compound that you've been working on. She kind of rubs it through her fingers a little bit, and she goes, you know more than you're letting on. You're getting there. And she puts it back in your hand.
I'll curtsy.
Never in my life have I seen Vasilla curtsy. That's a little terrifying.
Yeah. And then I see you. If I see Sten smirk, I then give him a glare and be.
And he
Like,
actually
and some-
smiles for the first time in a
Some
couple
people
days.
gain wisdom with age.
No, in my case, I gained it from height.
She
Is that why you lost all your arrows in the sky?
she does ask permission to take advantage of the fire.
Oh, sure.
Of course.
And you see from another pack, and at this point, well, like how many pockets does this woman have, right?
She has pack rat level 3.
Yeah, she pulls out a squirrel that you immediately recognize Sten has not been dead very long,
Okay.
and she skins it and begins to cook it over the fire for herself.
Okay.
Sten, you do that for our guest.
I'm not sure, given the mask thing, she'd want us touching her food. I'd be happy to, but she clearly knows what she's doing.
Yeah, and unlike with Aldrich, where she, had skin to skin, she has not done that with any of you. Everything has been through these cloths that she's pulling out from under her coat.
Oh, sorry, madam. When we are well again, certainly let us help you, serve you in our
Well,
home, as such it is.
I'm finally able to go back to the Hollows, and like I said, I would imagine that you would likely be welcome.
If we can make it there and we're healed enough to not put anyone else at risk, it's a good thought.
At this point, Sten, it's gonna be luck. I don't know what you have, and I don't know how to stop it.
It seemed like it came from some harpies that ambushed us a little bit south of here.
Yeah, they threw up on us too.
Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see what we can do. You said you can finally go back to the Hollows. If you don't mind my asking, was there a reason you had to stay away?
Things got complicated after you left.
I know that story.
Miss Palmer's dead.
Oh, that is complicated.
The mayor?
Definitely could see that causing some issues.
She was found dead about 3 days, I think, after the four of you left. There's a bit of a ruckus the night after you'd left. But it was about 2 or 3 days after that. She was found dead. I don't know whether anybody knows what happened, but it was good for me to leave. So I have a sister at Millstone. So I've been there. But my hope is that things have settled a bit. If not, I can head back down to Millstone.
Has Sten noticed the banner and the pendant? Okay.
No, but Aldrich, this obviously, you are reminded of that if it had ever had left your.
Mhm.
And whether you have shared this at some point, because a lot of time is passing here, right? Things are fluctuating here. So if you're saying that at some point I would have pulled Sten aside and said, yeah, she's got Sturkus's necklace and it's got blood on it.
Don't think I would have mentioned that yet, just on the off chance that, I already know she's kind of different.
Yeah.
She knows a
I
lot
don't
of
wanna,
things.
I don't want to risk offending her while she's in our camp.
Yeah.
Sure.
Out of curiosity, is there been any other sign of the bird since she
There
came
has
in?
not.
Okay.
There has
What color are her
not.
eyes?
Her eyes are regular, like a deep green.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yep.
I know he was involved in the politics. Any word of the barman from the Three Skulls?
Yeah,
Short
when
fella, no beard.
well, if there was anybody to gain from her death, it was him.
Hey,
But
I hope he didn't do anything reckless.
I, like I said, I don't know. I don't know I don't know what my home is going to look like when I get back there. My hope is. I mean, it's been days. It's been well over a week now. My hope is that things will have settled.
Well, I hope so for you. So I don't want to sound ungrateful for what you've done because obviously you've given us a chance where I don't think we had one. Is there do you know of anything else we can do to try and I know you said you can't do anything with it. Do you have any idea of how we might be able to deal with it? Because I mean, if Osric can get well enough to travel, we might be able to go somewhere if there's anywhere for us to go.
So my expectation is we should see some revigoration from Osric probably overnight. If it's okay, I would like to stay the night here.
You're
I can
more
stay
than
off
welcome.
camp. I've got my own lean-to I can set up. But I'd like to treat each of you again in the morning and set you for the day. Then I would likely want to head back to the Hollows at that point. I can make no promises. My hope is that it's possible your friend, and she kind of gestures towards Osric, could potentially be mobile by morning, but it's difficult for me to say. And he and quite frankly, you and her are going to continue to decline. I think the only thing it's going to be a decision for you, for your body, and a Raven's blessing. But I don't know of a magic powerful enough to stop whatever these harpies have passed to you.
Take the aid we can get, and we're grateful for it.
So let me just quickly kind of give you a sense for her. She'll speak when spoken to. She's very congenial. But if left alone, she does her own thing. So I would let the 4 of you decide. Boy, I tipped my hat when I said 3 of you. I'll let the 4 of you decide
Which
how we
three
want
could it be?
how we want to pass through quarter days.
Osric, you can wheeze at her.
Exactly. I've got wheezing and crawling still.
But with no intervention from you, she has no plans for the next several quarter days. Do we want to do rations rolls real quick to get those out of the way?
Might as well.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't run out.
So food and water, for those of you watching, Forbidden Lands is a really neat resource system. This applies to torches, to food, and to water, and you have a die size assigned to it.
Of course.
If you roll a 1 or a 2 on a die, your die size is reduced by 1. So if we look here, we can see
All of our food is going bad.
so Aldrich's water, he rolled a 1, and it looks like he had a D12, so that should drop you down to a D10. And then I saw another one. I saw Sten's food.
I won my food as well.
Okay, so where does that put your food now?
I have no food personally.
All right. And then Aldrich has 1 food. And Sten, what is your food?
I'm down to a D6.
Okay. So D6 is the lowest. So if Sten, so obviously we'll use Aldrich as an example. Aldrich had a D6, rolled a 1 or a 2. So now he is out of food. And it's just a really clean way of minimizing the bookkeeping. It's one of the several things I love about this system. So Aldrich, as you reach into your pack, you realize that the last of the dried meats that you had there.
Good news
This
is you
is-
can steal it from my pack because I have a D10 of food.
I
Yeah,
also
and you
have a
get
fair chunk.
and if Alshrick were to drop his die, he could hand a +1 die to Nate, right? And then they can exchange things that way. So, that's very possible. You can also just, Alshrick could roll twice, right, and feed himself and feed Aldrich.
Well, if we have a quarter day, I can
do.
certainly try to do some hunting. I feel except I don't have any arrows.
Frostbite.
Go
Well,
knife hunting the old-fashioned way.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have a bow to go hunting by any stretch of the imagination.
yeah.
But
Sten, I will find Sten away a little bit. Hey, I hid the scepter here. Can you make sure that's really well hidden, like with your,
Yeah,
wily old
I'll-
ways?
I'll take a look at it, and see if if she hasn't pointed exactly where it is, I would say, just like let me look at the area and see if I can figure out where it is.
yeah, so you get over there, Sten, and you know what? To Vasila's credit, she did a pretty damn good job. Now the chalk arrow she put on the stump was not
Yeah.
great.
I mean,
She
look,
drew the scepter on the rock.
like the little verse I made that
wrote,
was like a
"Not
hidden
here."
like rhyme to find it. That was probably not the smartest.
Yeah,
Definitely
exactly.
The evil
But I
scepter.
would be willing to accept a survival roll from Sten if Sten
I can do
potentially
that.
could improve the hiding.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm just imagining that like I drew the scepter on like the rock with like a little like
Uh-huh.
glasses and a fake nose with a mustache. like,
Incognito
red
scepter.
like definitely
Like,
not an evil
Definitely
scepter.
not here.
Yeah. So maybe I can make a few small improvements, but pretty good.
But no, overall,
Pretty good.
it was fine. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's do some hunting.
Sure. Just to be fair, from looking at the rules description of it, you need some form of gear to hunt either a ranged weapon or a hunting trap of some type.
Uh-oh. Does he
Oh,
have
So
a
I
hunting
do
trap
not
of
have
some
a
sort?
trap.
you
I
can
do not have a
forage.
Forage
sling.
instead.
I guess, yeah, it's not really
Still
my
survival.
area of
Foraging is very
expertise, but
terrifying.
sure,
just to-
I'll do what I can with that.
There's a dwarf from our local game that was very good at foraging.
That's right.
Was.
It's not terrifying
And
at all.
then he died horribly in a terrible
We found
foraging
him.
accident.
He would
The
have
giant
without
wolf
help.
man found him. It's fine.
Fair enough. All right, let's see what we can do with that. Okay, there we are with survival gear, no modifiers. Actually, do I have? Oh, I can spend a willpower point to succeed automatically if I need to,
Nice.
because it's part of that same feat. But I don't need to.
Very nice.
I find some
Awesome.
things.
All right, so there's actually a roll, I think, for that. Let me just double check.
Uh,
I don't think there is a role for forage.
there,
Same way
there's
there
a
is for
modifier
hunting.
by season.
Oh, that could be
Yeah,
important.
which I have not been on top of.
Ugh. Why do we even let
So
you
not-
in this?
Let's see here.
Page 151. You find a number of units of vegetables equal to the number of successes you rolled.
Oh, okay. So this gives you a 1 day's rations essentially,
Okay.
right?
will.
And if it's not used today,
Mm-hmm.
we could have Aldrich cook it and add a die of food to
Okay.
somebody,
Probably all.
because you have that skill, Aldrich, right?
Yep, I've got cook.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll bring those back. They're probably like some little wild carrots and some roots and stuff. But yeah, I'll hand those over to Aldrich and say, I don't know, this may help tide things over. I've still got some.
Would I have
rations, but
Would I have to wait till the next quarter day to cook those?
No, we've got 3 quarter days to work with here. So we've
Okay.
got him hunting.
But it does
you
have
do
to
it
wait
this-
till the next one, technically.
Right,
the
to
next
get-
quarter day.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
but it's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
enough.
So
We
I
have
think,
that time.
You do have time.
yeah.
So she's going to take the 3rd quarter day to sleep.
Okay.
Unless again, I'm going to fast forward us there. But if there's things that you want to happen,
I was gonna talk to her while folks
Please.
were away, and while I assume she's like setting up her little, at least sleeping area, and just
Yep.
Lady Navia, if I may.
Yes.
I can't thank you enough, but any debts that my friends and I may have incurred, I would take on myself if I can.
Those have been paid, Aldrich. Those have been paid.
At the very least, assuming we all get well, we can at least see you to the Hollows then.
You're welcome to join.
Okay. I think
I make no promises of what we'll find.
I understand, and that's why I would like you to have assistance should anything be questionable when we get there. Because again, you've done this for us. It's the least we could do, or at least the least I could do.
You're welcome to join.
Thank you. I think I will take my rest now.
Craig, in my second core day, I'm going to train that Path of Hymns
Great.
talent level 1 since it worked out well that way.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so you need a teacher for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have Navia be that teacher.
Cool.
But then you still need to do a roll. Is that right?
Not if I'm taught. If I'm learning by myself, you have to make a roll, and I can
Okay,
still
great.
make a roll because
Yeah.
it's different,
Nope.
different disciplines. Cool.
I'm fine with that. So let's go ahead and spend the XP.
We spent.
And then, Dave, if you want, you should be able to go into the inventories and go to the magic and pull over the healing spells. Does it give you access just to level 1 or?
It's not healing spells specifically.
he
I
doesn't
just
get
get to
healing
do.
magic.
I don't spell. I don't do healing
Oh, okay.
magic.
You can
I
just heal broken
do-
people.
Yeah, I get to heal
Non-magical
instead of
healing.
using the heal skill. I spend willpower to heal broken people
Oh, nice.
with my
awesome.
song. So rank 1, you can help a broken comrade within short range to get up on her feet. For every willpower you spend, your comrade recovers 1 point of the attribute that has been reduced to 0.
Gotcha. So
Nice.
it's not
That
magic.
seems good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, great. And were you able to drag that over?
No, but
go-
I'll mess with it.
What?
I'm gonna add it
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
So
Yeah, if you go over to the inventory and type it in, you should be able to find it.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
If you can't, just
Yep.
let me know and I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
All right. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to need 2 different keep watch rolls because we have 2 different quarters. We're going to have 2 different people keep watch, and then we'll have some resting occur.
I guess I'll keep watch on this first one since I'm not
Sure.
doing anything other than having that conversation.
Sure.
So again, not wearing the helm. Thank you, Forge. Let's put it on just this once.
Forgot about the helm.
Lost my focus. Yeah, let's go ahead and push it. Might as well.
Okay.
Jeez.
Well, no harm done at least.
All right.
I don't know.
And for
The
the
willpower would be nice.
And the second quarter?
I can do that.
I can do 1 too if we need.
I mean, it's up to you. I'm fine.
Yeah,
Go
we'll
for
only
it.
need 2
You
total.
prefer?
So
It's all you.
Okay.
You're traditionally more of a keep watch.
And then that second quarter, I'll cook the vegetables. Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
He's got a renewed lease on life. That's Sten.
all right. So I've got us at the morning of the 24th.
All right.
Possibly even before Osric awakes. And let's see, Aldrich, you'd be the only one to heal, but you're at full, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I keep saying heal. You're restored is what
Yes.
is the term I should use.
Do we regain our soft attributes like empathy, or is it all
Yes,
Empathy
just
should come
everything but agility and strength. Correct.
Got it.
Yeah. Those will be restored. So I'm going to do a few things. One, she's going to try to heal Osric with her magic. So she's going to reapply the healing hands
All right.
using the ingredient.
Oh.
That's 3.
Yeah.
So you'll apply that to agility, Osric.
I'm alive.
And you are no longer broken. Now we need to do some sickness rolls.
Okay, so that's me. I'm gonna take on. I don't know how many people I can take on, but I
So
get
I
to
was-
I
make.
can
Go ahead.
I can do medical as well because I'm also pretty good in.
Yeah,
in
I have an
medical
8 dice on it.
Woo! Okay, you're
Nice.
a lot better than I am, but I can do a 5 if that'll help someone.
Yeah, and I kind of looked at this a little bit, Dave, and I couldn't find any clarity on here. So I'm fine with you making endurance rolls via your healing
Hmm.
for up to 3. So it's
Okay.
really whatever is best.
Okay, cool.
So
I'm
you,
gonna
you
guess that my dice pool's going to be the best, but
all right, so
Almost
you
certainly, yeah.
tell me whom, and then we'll
so I
roll
will
one at a
go.
time, and then the disease will roll last.
All right,
You
we're starting
only
with
need to do it
Osric.
for two others. You can't do it for yourself.
Yep.
So I guess can I tend to Vasilla while she's tending to the other two?
Yeah,
It's just like
We're
a
doing- let's
circle
start
Team
of-
there.
effort, guys.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's have Aldrich.
'Cause I assume 5 is better than your endurance, Vasilla.
Well, yeah.
All right, cool.
All right. So let's first do a little bit of Vasilla's like, no, I know what I'm doing. Get your-"
Drink this. I know you're busy. Just take a second, okay? Here we are.
Okay,
2.
we've got 2. So I need Vasilla to remember she's got 2 successes.
Can I push it?
You can.
I'd like to push it just to make sure. Okay, well, I tried.
All right. So Vasilla has 2. Who do you want to go for, Sten or Dave, or Sten or Osric first?
Osric, since he was the
Mhm.
one
Mhm.
until very recently that has been the worst off, and also he's the one with the weapon that we can defend ourselves with.
While you do this, I got to get 11 dice.
That Sten is real dead weight.
All right, here we go. 6 and 2. Come on, baby.
Ooh.
Hey, Craig, do you want someone to just roll a 11d6 in the chat for you?
What's that?
Do you want someone to just roll an 11d6 in the chat?
Let me. Can you guys do /R? It was giving me an error when I tried it.
I can try it.
Hold on, before you go, I think I need to decide if I'm going to push or not.
Yeah.
And I'm going to push.
You sure?
I
Okay.
feel like getting any single person actually healthy is
Would be
A
awesome.
big deal. Yeah. Fair enough.
Hey, look at that.
Cool.
Okay, so
All
that's
right.
going to be
3.
3 for Osric.
Mhm.
And what does that 1 damage to empathy look like?
So I think I'm starting to get like a little flustered. Like Aldrich trying to get me to drink a potion. I'm trying to like get him to get the right proportion of herbs. Right. I'm trying to impress Lady Nervia. Like I'm just getting a little more frazzled, a little less like plucky wit and understanding, and more just like, gah, leave me. Fine, I'll drink it. Gah.
Yeah. You actually yell at me once, and I'm like, oh, okay.
That never happens.
All right, so we have a roll for Sten.
All right, so Sten.
Listen, calm down. You're doing great.
This is huge. This is a big roll.
Oh man, I keep having close roll.
Look at all these dice.
Look at all those dice, none of which are sixes.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Oh no! Did you break yourself trying to tell?
No, I have 6. I'm down to 1.
Jesus. Okay.
I'm down to 2, actually. Sorry.
So because I care about my audience, we need to role play the Vasilla walking away from an 0 successes but 3 empathy damage.
yeah.
Look, it's fine. It's fine. You're doing fine. Just breathe. It's gonna be okay. You got this. We're fine. We got help. This is gonna help a lot. This tea, potion, concoction, whatever it is. I thank you. It's great. You got this. It's fine. Just take a moment to rest. You don't want to work yourself to death doing this.
Um,
Those points of empathy just came from Dad.
Yep. I felt it.
I think Vasilla lost for words costs 3 empathy.
Yes, that literally never happens.
All right, so
Now,
Jim,
now Sten is genuinely worried about her health.
so Jim, we'll see if this is located. This is isolated to my instance of Foundry, but do you want to try to slash R?
Right, you
Now,
11
this
to
is
D6?
just a
roll
test, right?
11.
This doesn't count.
E6.
No, this counts.
Oh,
That's
God
if
damn
it
it.
rolls.
Okay.
Is that where we're at? And we're doing 11 D6.
Yep.
Oh, wait, I bet I could do it. Let's see.
Oh, you rolled. Oh, so it's just mine. All right, so
Ooh.
now the 39 means nothing. We have to do is expand it.
It's only one.
I saw
no,
1
no,
6.
1 6.
one. It's only one.
Mm.
God, that makes that 3 failures and no successes even worse. Damn it.
So I need Sten to take 1 damage to
All right, we have
Wit-
time.
to agility and to strength,
Uh-huh.
but mechanically, Osric is no longer diseased, and nor is Vasilla.
Oh my
And
gosh.
Aldrich needs to make an actual roll himself, right? Because I only had time to do 2 or 3.
Who needs to make a roll?
Aldrich, is he already healed
Aldrich
with
does
his?
not need to make a roll.
All right.
Not sick.
So, and what Vasilla was doing was that's in lieu of my endurance roll, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So, Osric, you're no longer broken. As Nervia like predicted or hoped, we start the morning with you for the first time. Probably still a little shaky, but actually kind of getting up, and I kind of like the idea of maybe Vasilla coming out of the tent first to find that Osric has started the fire.
Hey, buddy.
Good morning, lass. It appears that your efforts have been successful. I feel a bit better this morning.
Yeah. Too bad I might have used all the good stuff on you. Shh, don't tell Sten.
He got the placebo.
Yes, I was the control group.
He just got a cup full of mud.
She's looking at her ingredients. She goes, I have just enough for one.
It's Sophie's choice.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know it's settled that quick. But happy to see you live since you're the only one that can swing a sword. No, for real, are you all right? She does come up and like give him like a hug around his waist.
And I
like,
think he pats her on the shoulder. Says, I am feeling better. I don't know if I'll be swinging that sword quite yet, but I am feeling better.
Mm.
Instead, when you awake, it's spread. It's now beyond just your forearm. It's now past your elbow and about halfway up your upper arm.
So Sten is gonna kind of roll his sleeve down over it and come out of the tent, and Osric, yeah, look, well, I won't say fit as a fiddle, but better than you have in a while.
It's good to be up. It's good to be up.
Good to see you up. And Vasilla, how are you feeling?
Still angry at me that you spit out the juice when all the taste was bad. You
I
feeling better
never
at least, old
did.
man?
I never did.
Well, is your arm better?
Yep, doing fine. Doing just fine.
Good.
We should figure out what to do, and if we're all ready to ready to travel. I wonder if that and is the midwife still kind of off at her camp?
She is, yeah. So she, and even if you offered, did not want to share a tent with you, and just
Yeah.
purposely, just like 15 yards away, it kind of set up a very. She had a cloth, kind of a canvassy,
Mhm.
heavy cloth that she took some sticks and twigs to put together a lean-to, and was kind of under there. And by the time anybody was up, she'd already had it packed away.
Okay. So Stem would just kind of drop his voice so as not to carry over there and says, I feel like at the rate things have been going, we might not be a good idea to carry that item around until everybody's feeling better. So and maybe one of us, maybe I should stay here and just make sure nobody bothers it, and you head off and get to the hollow, see if you can find me some arrows.
That's dumb. Why wouldn't we all just go to the hollows together? Why would we leave just you behind?
Do we want to leave that thing here unguarded?
Why would we? Why
Well,
would we
because it
leave
makes you
you
so
without
weak.
arrows next to it? Wouldn't that be obvious that something was here if you just had an old man without arrows in his bow, like standing there, like, oh, I'm here.
Well, I'm not going
Why
to
is
be advertising that I don't have arrows. I'm just going to be, I'm an old man hiking and fishing.
It's tough to argue with hiking. and fishing.
Sten is not meeting Vasila's eye during this conversation.
I don't like you say a lot of dumb things. I get that, but like, I don't. This plan makes no sense. It's like my little brother's plans when he was 3. Like, why if we're here and my voice is like actually getting like you were like quiet and like we're not talking about this, and I'm like, why would we do that then? That doesn't make any sense.
Has zero chill. No empathy left.
That's well, hopefully you got some
That's
sleep.
restored, but yeah.
No, because I slept before I did the.
Oh, that's
the
right.
deal.
Oh, that's right.
This
You
is this
did.
morning.
Yeah, I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. We feel better, thank God, thanks to the Raven and our lovely midwife here. You're fine. Let's just take our belongings and go back to the place that we can like rest and get food, because apparently you guys can't keep food or arrows on yourselves anymore. Like, why would we just leave you here to stand here?
I just don't think we ought to be carrying that thing with us, and I don't think we should leave it unprotected.
But leave you here is unprotected. You don't have arrows.
But no one knows that. And if anybody comes here, I can talk them out of it. Because some people listen to sense.
You're going to talk them out of it?
Do what you want. He goes back
Always
to the tent
do.
and starts packing his stuff up.
Between
You
all
guys
of
are
us-
helpful. Thanks.
Between all
Look
of
at the
us,
two of
Sten,
you, and
we
then I'm
can-
going to walk away.
we can make it.
Sten's already
we'll-
back in the tent.
The Silas walked away from
You
Geek
said
Side,
back
so
in the
wait.
tent, not packing the tent.
No, he's going in the tent to pack up his personal stuff.
Okay.
This is dumb.
So what are we doing?
Vasila, where did you put the scepter, by the way?
Oh, it's by the rock. Didn't you read the note?
Didn't you see the arrow?
Yeah. I wrote a
I'm
limerick in
out of
case you were
arrows.
dead. I wrote a limerick for you in case you were dead. Like, just like we were
Ah.
kids.
A riddle befitting
Yeah.
a magical artifact. Understandable.
Well, if you're the only one that came back and we were all dead from harpy puke, then like you were wanted to leave you some notice.
All right. Well, I'll carry it first, and then we'll go from there. If we can keep with the midwife, at least get her back to the Hollows, and we can make sure Sten's all right.
Yeah. Well, not all right in the brain. Why would we leave an old man without any arrows for his defense? Also, we need to stop and take a bath. We smell terrible.
We're coming upon a river, so we'll have that much going for us. Come on, let's get ready.
Heading out.
I'll go ahead and take the
Is that the
damage
thing?
for
Is-
El
has,
Scepter.
has Sten acquiesced? Are we actually all packing up and?
I
taking
mean,
the tent?
Sten seems grumpy, but
So normal.
but yeah, exactly.
He seems extra
Perhaps
grumpy
he's
today.
getting back to his normal state, but yeah.
All right, so actually, you guys are back here.
We lucked out with a 1 roll and I couldn't freaking get it. Oof.
Nivea, which way would you prefer to head? Straight north or back along the river where you were?
She says it's similar distance either way.
If you've already seen
we
the
can-
river path, it might be easier than breaking new ground.
Yeah, it's. We don't have to pay attention. We just follow the river. It'll take us right back there.
That's true. That's wise.
Okay, so we will travel to our first hex for this
Okay.
first quarter day,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to keep watch, but I don't need a make way because you've been there before,
I will keep watch, as usual.
or lead the way. I don't know why I keep calling it make way.
Hopefully, I'm going to take off that helmet that I'm not wearing. And hey, there we
Ah!
are. I know this
Very
route
nice.
well. Hey, mosquitoes.
Yeah,
Watch
be
out for-
careful. There's some low ground. Oh, you got it. Okay.
They would kill Vasilla.
I have to look up what broken empathy looks like. Just like you're just like not a person anymore. You're just done with the whole freaking world.
Mhm. I am so over this.
Just sits down and throws a
Like,
tantrum.
I
in a
just
swarm
can't
of
even.
mosquitoes.
Well, if we're not too close to the mosquitoes, this might be a good place to clean up a little bit. I still stink of harpy puke.
So you head out, following the path that Sten helped forge up to a certain point, but then Aldrich finished, and of course, she helps along the way. There's a slight drizzle, but nothing torrential by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, it's a little refreshing. Cool enough that if there was an extra layer that each of you would put on, you might wear it. And you head to the northwest, back towards the river where you first met her.
Do I notice anything about Sten acting oddly like slow, doesn't put on his coat even though the rest of us do because he's got a burning arm? Anything like that?
I mean, I'll let Craig answer if you see anything, that I'm not doing deliberately. But Sten himself, I mean, he's not at 1 in any of his stats, so he's probably just a little stiff from being old.
Yeah.
But I would say, and he's certainly putting a brave face on it all. So he's certainly not intending to let anything show. As to whether something does, I'll leave that to Craig.
Cool. I'm gonna leave it for now.
Okay. She keeps a distance, and really not just from Sten. She keeps a distance from all of you, but not being weird about it. You can just get a sense that she, travels alone. Now, Sten, the day before, when you first came out of the tent, you noticed this large black bird, which Aldrich was able to identify as a raven.
Mm-hmm.
And it caught your eye when it came back. As you're working your way through these grasslands, though, you notice another very large bird flying in the distance. It's not the bird you saw before.
Mhm.
Hard to identify. In fact, it's Aldrich that points it out first. And you can tell immediately the carrion circle of its flight pattern. So it is maybe 25 feet above ground, but it is having a very focused circle of about maybe two to 300 yards ahead of you. You can see the bank of the river. This is happening well before the river, though. And it is between the path that you're taking between you and the river. So we have Aldrich pointing out the bird.
Mhm.
You immediately, no roll needed, identifying what this flight pattern is. So even though you,
Something dead or dying there is what's dead.
yeah, even though you don't
Yeah.
know what this bird is, you're able
Mhm.
to piece it together pretty quick.
Sure. So yeah, he'll call that out and basically look to looks at it and you know, should we see what it is, or you want to go around?
So she looks up and she goes, well, based on how close it is, whatever it is, it could still be alive. The carrion would be much, much closer at this point if it
Mhm.
was dead.
Well, let's go have a look.
So the five of you start moving closer. As you move closer, the carrion moves closer, but not like in tandem, right? So it doesn't feel like it's measuring its distance to your distance. It's just time passing. And I'm going to have Sten notice this first. Even though there was not a make way roll or a lead the way roll, Sten still always is ahead with this. And as you work your way through the grass, you're going to have to get probably within about 15 feet, Sten, before you see the indentation that there's something in the grass because of the way the grass is matted. But for you to actually see it, you're going to have to get within about 15 feet of it. And
Yeah, and he's going to do so very carefully, as if he was stalking prey, because he doesn't know
Perfect.
what it is.
Yep. It's a man. He is face down. And he's in some sort of robes that are kind of dark robes, and they could be innocuous or they could be similar to robes that you've seen on the party that you killed before. But quite frankly, there's nothing that tells you that, right? So this could be the same robes that the Rust brothers are wearing, or this could be just some schmo in robes. But you do see a face down person in the grass.
Okay. And still like moving, breathing. No. So he will kind of wave the midwife over and take a few steps back, because if this guy's alive, he doesn't want to make it worse. And she presumably knows what she's doing.
So as she gets closer, it's definitely a brother. She says, and she looks to you, Vasilla, and she goes, did you notice any dandelion?
Did I?
Sure.
Yeah, there
You go-
was.
She could get some.
All right. Sure.
So you grab some dandelion and you bring it over to her, and she kind of like goes like this to the dandelion so that the feathered seeds fall into her hand, and you see her just kind of do this, and then she kind of throws them towards this body. And you see the little propeller dandelion feathers kind of float. And she's watching it. He's dead.
That makes this much less complicated.
Yeah.
But he's rust. So I don't know. Just be careful. Or let's continue.
Is there any sign of what killed him? Like, has he got stab wounds or claw marks? Or,
Are we getting closer?
I mean, yeah. Now that I know he's dead.
Okay. So as you get closer, you can see the discoloration in the grass that's under him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an excessive amount of blood
Right.
just covering the grass under his body.
So Sten would probably like put a boot under his shoulder and just try and roll him over on the off chance he's someone we have seen before.
I don't. It's even the carrying won't go near him. What are you doing?
Are you telling me how wild animals work?
And you've got the manners of one, so might as well know.
Does that stop you, Sten?
No.
Sten, you come over.
What kind of question is that?
Yeah, it's it's a GM question, but no.
You put your boot under his shoulder, and with just enough energy and weight, you're able to kind of flip the body. And it falls over. And you now see the rusted metal collar that was hidden under the cloak before. So any question about that is answered. And looks young. I mean, this boy could be 18, 17, very young. Though there's some old scarring that you see on his face. No survivor roll needed. This was not a natural death. Because from chin to groin, he's been opened. And whatever bowels and stomach are gone. And the rib cage has been opened. And any lungs and heart are gone.
Does it look like the kind of thing an animal would do to the body, or does the cut look cleaner than that?
It's very clean.
Does
The
it,
cut
does
is
it look like a demon sort of popped out of him? And
For instance,
Just a random question to throw out there.
has he ever spent times with an android? So looking at it, the first thing you identify, right, is this a wild animal? And no, right, it's a very clean cut. This was a deliberate hunter's cut. And this was a cleaning. And what's left is the dried blood. This is a day old, maybe. So it must have happened between when Aldrich and her left and when you have come back. And by no means are you a biologist or an epidemiologist or anything. But the amount of maggots that have now infected and filled this body is not natural. Maybe if it had been here 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it would explain. But they're everywhere.
Well, he kind of takes a few steps back as well. Whoever, whatever did this is not going to be far. So keep your eyes open. Carrying a quiver.
Yes.
Amazing.
Look, man, I have one job on this ship.
Craig, I'm gonna
God.
burn this body, and I will take a torch to do it if that's the thing I need to do.
Are we going to move the body at all, or are you just going to bring a torch to it?
I think I'm okay with just bringing a torch to it here.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Okay.
move it.
What'd you say?
I wouldn't move it.
All right,
What
so
I-
you go ahead.
I was going to say what I will do while they're burning the body is just kind of walk a perimeter around it and see if there's like a blood trail, as if someone was like taking these organs for some nefarious purpose.
As best as you can tell, Sten,
Mhm.
no.
That doesn't make it any better, but okay.
Yeah, so there's no
That's almost worse.
blood trail in or blood trail out.
Okay.
It's very localized.
And I guess the only thing I would say is that I would want to make sure that as I burn it, I don't want to set the whole place on fire. But
That's fair. So give me a quick torch roll.
I will give you a quick torch roll. Perfect.
That's
So it
fitting.
goes.
That's
That
fitting.
is, I feel like that is a good use of a torch.
You're not wrong.
You don't have
So-
to use all your torches on the body.
So that doesn't
That'll
take
be my
that,
next torch.
that will take the rest of the half day or the rest of the quarter day. So that puts us at the second quarter for the day. What do we want to do this quarter?
Keep on moving,
I
right?
feel like we should keep moving unless we want to
I would-
stop and clean up.
I would naturally approach. I think I approach Osric and kind of making sure that like Nivea's not like paying attention and just kind of face to face and pull out the scepter and can you take this? I know you've just been through quite the ordeal, but
Can I take that? We said it's wits and agility.
yeah,
Yes,
I
I
don't
can
know.
take that.
okay, cool.
And he'll say, I'll carry the weight.
I trust you with it, as I would trust any of us.
All right, give me just a second.
On the second day, I'm gonna on one of the breaks, I'll like bandage up my face, like not bandage, mask up my face. I'm gonna go talk to Vidya, and I'm gonna say, so midwife, right? Like birthings and such, unless like just idiots in a field that are dying from harpy puke, right? So you normally just like birth people, right?
The people call me midwife, but I take care of more than that.
So you know that my people have, exciting births, and don't suppose you know where like my brother would have gone, right? Like, or like people like my brother, like that, like that's
So
not like
the-
part of your gig, is it?
Yeah, so Vasily, you start like down this path and you see genuine confusion in her face. She's like, I've never been there for the birth of one of your people. I is it different?
No. I mean, like, I don't know. I haven't given birth personally. It's not really where my life stage is right now. Of course.
So you're not with child, are you?
Dude, no. I already have idiots that I have to keep in mind back there. I couldn't handle a child. That would be not right now.
Oh
But
my God.
well, if you've never seen them, I mean, don't worry about it. Mom. Just mom was always kind of silly about it. There's like what are those called? Superstitions about it, and so I don't I just wondered how the Hollows dealt with it. Don't worry about it. I know you're busy midwifing and keeping your mask on and such. And anyway, nice talking to you. Thanks.
All right.
Oh
So
my
let's
God.
get to the next half day, quarter day.
Oh my
That
God.
puts us at how we're going to spend our noon to 6 o'clock, and we're going to head north, I hear.
That seems like the right plan.
Up the
All
river,
right.
right?
I am going to need to lead the way as well as a keep watch.
Alrighty.
Do I need to do either of those?
Yeah, I got it.
Looks like
Well, I
it
got
extends.
the.
Wow.
Well, I say that.
Do you have any willpower, Sten?
I mean, I do, but I'm thinking about pushing it.
Ah, fair.
Because I could use more willpower.
It's true. Or
Oh,
just
well,
pass
good
like a
choice.
boss.
Or
There you
I
go.
could do that. Okay.
All right. So we passed that and then
Nice.
lead the way.
Keep
Or I'm
watch.
sorry. So, keep watch.
Yep. Boom. All right. Well, we're gonna do the same. Oh. Okay. All right.
Even up. Yep.
I'll take it.
All right. And we've taken the damage for the scepter. Is that correct?
I did.
Okay.
And I didn't shuffle around, but we have to shuffle something else out of my hands in order to do that. But
Oh, do you need me to grab something?
we'll have to figure out.
I have
what
plenty
that
of space
is.
now.
So just real quick, Jim, just drop something, and then we'll assume that that's Aldrich is carrying that.
Yeah.
We don't have to fit.
I don't
it
even
into
know
it.
who has the scepter right now. I
There's like a
assume it's
ceremonial
still, in
passing of like
inventory.
fishing
Mhm.
rod for
We're passing the baton,
scepter.
literally,
Yeah. Is it just a drop button on that guy? Is that
Just put it in the
Or
drop
move.
section. Drag it down.
okay? There we
It's
go.
like Indiana
Got
Jones
it.
carefully measuring a bag of
Mhm.
sand.
Nope.
So as you now head north, following the river, incidentally, everybody can get their water back up to D12 because we've
Woohoo.
got fresh water right there. So I will assume those that did not have a full water skin would fill it up. All in all, relatively uneventful. Again, Nervia is not talkative unless talked to. This would finish out this quarter day, but no, it wouldn't actually. We'd have one more hex to go handle for this quarter day. But I want to know if there's any conversations that need to happen before we go to the next hex.
I think we need to like go to sleep and normal stuff. But I have
Well, you still
nothing
have
important.
you still have two more
Yeah.
quarter days left. So you can travel two
You do a
hexes in
little
one
travel,
quarter day.
yeah.
Got it.
So we just want to head northeast.
I think so.
So same thing. Let me get my rolls.
Right. So no windows. Where did it come back here? That's not what I want. That's what I want.
Well, you'll get the willpower this time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and
So
I
no
mean,
successes on lead the way.
Survival at least is wits. No, I'm going to push it.
You're
And I
gonna push
can
it, okay?
I can afford a little wits.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All
So you
right.
take the 1 damage to wits.
Yep, and I get the 1 willpower.
And you get the 1 willpower. And for keep watch,
That'll be me again. Get a little lower. We're good.
there we go.
Ta-da.
All right.
Really amazing what taking off a helmet can do for you.
Can you tell everybody about the helmet real quick?
Oh, the helmet that puts a -2 on my keep watch, the thing I always do. So we're just gonna keep that off unless I need to
It's a super protective
Iron
helmet,
Man it
though.
on.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's real nice to have, but
It's
it's
just
real
like
bad
this
when you're the
slit
guy who
you're
keeps
looking
watch
through.
because it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah, if we're going into serious battle we can prepare
A
for,
full
suddenly
helmet,
he will be
yeah.
helmeted.
So you guys continue heading north, and as you continue through the grasslands, things are starting to slant down. And this is partially with the river, but you also get to that small kind of intersection that you found where you had the river headed east, the river headed towards the northwest, and then the river headed south, which was the all south of the hollows. And previously you had come from the north to get there, whereas now you are coming from the south. But you still see the same town that started really this whole adventure, where you first left the safety of Oakenheart and came in contact with the first civilization that any of you have ever known in your entire lifetime. And we're getting towards evening. You see a few chimneys with smoke. You can tell from where you are that the Palisades are in very similar conditions as they were before, not being taken care of. But you now have a better sense of the buildings that you can see over the Palisades because you've been there, whereas before you had no idea what these rooftops represented. And I think eyes first go to Yawans. And you can see the smoke not only leaving the inn or the tavern, but also his brewery. If you remember, it was just next to it. And there's 4 or 5 sails of boats that seem to be moored at the dock, which we did not see before. So then it's been, well, let's take a look how long it's been. Yeah, it's been almost 2 weeks since you've been to the Hollows.
Mm.
So something's changed. It's not clear yet what is. But as you get closer, we cut to credits. So much to talk about. And normally I would go right to the players, but I've got a couple things I want to talk about, and part of this will be things I can reveal to my players, and I feel very comfortable with because of the level of players we have, and I know it won't affect it from a metagaming, but I think it'll be informative for those watching, because obviously over the last 5 weeks a lot of decisions were made. But I want to start by saying that the last 4 weeks for me at work have been hell. Like, I have had the shit kicked out of me at work for the last
Oh.
4 weeks. And I got to say, I love this hobby because this has been a weird light that I've just like I'm like been looking forward to it for 4 weeks now as I've been getting the shit kicked out of me. And I had so much fun tonight. And I spent all of this time just playing, and I don't know if I'd be doing it if I was playing a board game. And it's a credit to the hobby, and it's a credit to this table. So thank you for allowing me not to feel like I was getting the shit kicked out of me.
Well, no,
Um,
it's great to be the one doing the kicking for a change.
yeah, right. Yeah, it's about time. A little bit of revenge, God damn it. So a couple things happened over these 5 weeks. I did a lot of deep diving into rules. And there is no perfectly written rule book. And there's some ambiguity in the Forbidden Lands book. And one of the things that is a little ambiguous is the opposed roles. And the opposed roles about who's attacker, who's defender, and what happens on ties. So I decided about a week and a half ago that Aldrich, when you tied the virulence roll at the end of episode 18,
Okay.
I decided that ties go to the player. And for those of you watching, that may not be the right call, because I did also read where they say that a tie means the current state continues. So there's an argument to say that you would have remained sick. I made the call. So that's what happened as far as, when we left, you were broken and sick. And then obviously I started this episode with you not broken nor sick. So that explains that for you. The other thing I had to decide as a GM is, what the hell am I going to do here? All right. Because Craig, non-GM Craig, wants these players to be playing these characters for 20 more sessions. Right. But I also have a lot of respect for the fact that we roll dice. Right. And we don't play pretend without rules. So, you want to find that balance. So here was my decision. I decided I was going to do the Raven, knowing that I had about a 60-40 chance that would be a boon or a bane signal for you. Right? I thought there's a chance I could have this Raven.
If we would go
And
the other way.
Yeah. And I said to myself, I'm going to, and another thing in full disclosure, everything that's been happening at the Hollows has been happening. It has nothing to do with this disease. So I do very much the John Harper GM turns. I've been keeping track of everything that has been happening over these weeks off screen, right? So when you guys leave the Hollows doesn't freeze in ice, right? When you leave Amber's Peak, it doesn't freeze in ice. So things are happening at Amber's Peak, things are happening at the Hollows. I said, you know what? I've got this thing with Nervea that I've decided, and okay, I'm going to put her here because it makes sense. And if they end up there, great. If they don't, it's on them, right? So turned out well. You guys went there, you found her. I knew she couldn't cure the disease, but she could at least buy you some time. So that's the open kimono on the GM thing. I had no guarantees that they would find her, and if they didn't find her, they didn't find her. So she was not Schrodinger's ogre, right? I didn't have her in the next text, regardless of what direction they went. But I did put out the signal there. And for some UGMs watching, you could think that was a little much, and I'm fine with that. That was a decision I made, and I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm gonna probably start with you, Nate. Do you have any thoughts before we get to stars and wishes?
Oh, I mean, I really like what happened with this whole situation. I think it's about as clean as it can be, handled without just like, and you put the flag there, and we made our choices. So I'm glad it's turned out as it has, because it could have been like, that's a bad omen. And then we're probably at least 2, maybe 3 party members down. So yeah, I'm happy to see us move on. And
Okay, Star. So, and to clarify, because I can't remember if I've clarified this. I used to like be star for a player, but really what I want stars to be is a moment, right? And that can include a player. But what was the star moment and where you were lost? You were in the Forbidden Lands.
I mean, it was weird to be alone for a minute. That was different, to have a moment of Aldrich discovers something without anyone else there. It's just kind of almost like a void. It's like, oh, this is, I could feel it in myself, just like, oh, this, I feel very exposed and vulnerable right now, but it doesn't matter because everyone else is relying on me to get them out of the situation I put them in.
How about wishes? As now, this is as a player.
I mean, as
What
a
are you
player,
wishing for?
I wish I wish on wishes that we get Sten better. And I am now also genuinely curious about the developments in the Hollows. Like, now that we're back,
Do you have any
very.
thoughts on what's going on?
I mean, it seems like our friend Yawen has gotten at least some of his wishes. So
Yeah, he totally
like
murdered her.
Navia said, we might be seen as more friendly because we left him as a friend. So maybe that's good. Maybe hopefully he hasn't forgotten us.
Any thoughts about her charm?
That is. Mm, I hadn't thought about that in conjunction for a second there. Yeah, I don't. That'll take some stewing,
Sure,
because
sure.
that's very interesting for her to just have on her.
How about you, Dave? First, any commentary thoughts, and then we'll go to stars and wishes.
No, I thought it. I mean, I was first like, man, all right, well, I'm glad Craig is helping us out, but I like the open kimono afterwards. It makes it feel better, which so I like that. Um, yeah, I'm digging, like, still just digging it. I'm glad we're still alive, at least mostly. We all love playing, so I think it's we would have found something else to do and it'd been fun, but yeah, when you
All
got
right,
something special, we want to hold on.
stars.
Stars for me, I think are I think I go Aldrich, because I think being alone was like scary. Like I'm immediately like he's dead, like
And he could have been.
right, like like and all the bad stuff like that's happened. I just thought he was dead, so I thought that was pretty cool. Payoff for many sessions of hours that like walking alone in Forbidden Lands is bad choices.
Yeah, there's like an alternate reality where Aldrich got like eaten enough by mosquitoes where he just sat down and died by a river.
Or
Well,
even if it hadn't been mosquitoes, it had been a bear.
well, exactly,
But I mean,
exactly, and that's
even with what came up, just like if that had been like a little,
Yeah.
like if
If you'd
Craig had
rolled one
rolled
more
3
six.
sixes, Aldrich just sits next to the river and goes, "What am I doing out here?"
Actually,
yeah.
I think I take that back. And not that you didn't do a good job. I'm sorry to cut you off, Craig. I think I actually would give it to you. I think because I feel like there are a couple moments where like I was like I know I was like into the role, like I was thinking about like roles and like options and like what to do, and like there was a couple moments where I just got like pulled back into like the story of it, and I think that was mostly you're doing. So
Oh,
I thi-
interesting.
I think none of us did a. I think we all did an okay. We did fine today as like a table as per normal, but like none of us I felt was like, oh man, that was freaking awesome. But I thought like you really kept hold of like a very train that could have gone off the tracks very
Oh,
easily.
good. Good, good, good. Yeah. Yeah. To build off what you just said, Nate, and this is part of what I love about the system and why the system's not for everybody. You're one bad keep watch roll and one bad encounter roll from you don't want to be alone in the Forbidden Lands, right? Like, and you're getting ambushed by 3 harpies.
I'm like a quarter mile away from my sick party, and I'm like, man, I'd really like to have them here with me right now.
Yeah, yeah, and that makes it tense. But I love that it wasn't like, yeah, let's just send Aldrich off. Like all of you knew, like
This is
this,
a big ask.
yeah, this is a big
Mhm.
ask, which I think is very cool. So how about wishes, Dave? What are you wishing for as a player?
I don't know, man. I just love what we're doing. I love what we're playing. I got to go back and watch the Hollows episode because I wasn't around yet as
Oh,
like a
definitely
player.
need to do that.
That'll be good
yeah.
information.
So I need to go
Yeah.
find out what the hell happened to my character so I know.
Vasilla
But
has
no, I'm just
amnesia.
grooving along,
Dwarves.
man.
Vasilla had some lines in that play.
Bees knees. Yeah, I get to figure out how far away I've taken it from Maeve's.
Vasilla was like a main character in that.
Yeah.
place.
Well, so here's what's cool about it, Dave, and I didn't realize you hadn't watched that, but what happened in the Hollows totally ties to where Vasilla is
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
And you could even argue that was her first decision. So when
That
you
was
go
her
back and
first
watch
murder.
yeah, it's really interesting. I did not realize what it
I've
was.
watched
And
some of
Coda
it,
asked in the
yeah.
chat, he goes, that was my question for days. Does he know about the dwarves? And no, Coda, he doesn't, which is news, I think, to me.
Yeah.
Maybe
No, I
rest of the
knew about it because like the stories get passed around the table, the RPG table, right?
Yeah.
Like I knew that it was a thing that had happened, but I didn't know like
No, you want to get the
not
details.
experienced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to want to know some of the NPCs, the characters, because there was some relationships developed in there, and there's some interesting NPCs in play there. And then, but you went to the Hollows in our home game.
Yeah, we did, and
Yeah.
it'll be interesting overwriting, old Hollows, different version of Hollows with this version of Hollows. I don't know if Jim did both as well, but it's
No,
I
Jim,
was
you
not
were
a
part of-
player, but I did watch the Hollows episode.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can see some of my learnings from seeing you guys in the Hollows, things that I didn't do in this Hollow. So it'll be from a GM perspective, Dave. I think you might find that interesting too.
Cool.
Like you remember the stones, the whole thing with the
Yeah.
stones? Yeah,
the thing
I
got
dropped
super
that.
fascinated by.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not.
That
My home-
distraction did not make good podcast or good stream. It
My-
was not going to work.
My home player spent 4 sessions obsessed about the stones.
Just
There's
back
going
and forth and
to
back
be
and
no
forth.
stones on the stream.
Yeah.
But all right. So how about you, Jim? First, any commentary you have, and then what was your
So,
star? What's your wishes?
I think, like, as far as commentary, and I'm super happy that Aldrich's alive, but oh my god, there were so many moments during this story where I felt like it was like destined for this little goblin to come into play. Like I feel like what's her name? Navia's storyline kind of mirrors his in this druid healery sort of wildish person. He's got little bits that touch on being anti-Rust Brother that just oh my god, like I was so ready for for like him to pop into this story. Like he could be like a little druid apprentice that she happens to know, and it was.
Does
and then-
Ostrich have a death wish now?
I don't think he does, and I don't think I do for him, but it was just as the story unfolded, I was like, oh my gosh, these are so many interesting touch points to pull this character in, and I worry, or I have worried, I guess, in the past, when I think about bringing in like a goblin character like this or something, or another, even a new character of any kind. It's so hard in my mind to find a way to get that character in, right? Because like a single character switching here feels so hard to me, because these 4 people and then would be down to 3 people have to be so scared of the outside, right? Anything that's ever from outside tends to be awful. And so the idea of someone new popping up and saying, hey, I'm going to hang out with you guys for a while now, feels like it will be hard.
Who would we trust at that point?
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
and this is going to be a controversial take by me, but it's something that because I have battled with this. Exactly what you're saying, and I will tell you, I've stopped overthinking it.
well,
I've just said, you
I'll
know
work
what,
on that.
in the same way, if you remember in session 0, since you guys have been with me in session 0s, I was like, you guys can make whatever characters you want, but here's what's non-negotiable. All of you know each other and you all trust each other.
Right. And I think that makes good sense at the beginning, right?
Right.
And then, but it's hard to
I hand wave it.
imagine.
Yeah.
I hand wave it, Jim, and I'm not telling you that's the right call. So
Sure.
so your thinking is something I've battled with in my entire time GMing. And that's where I've landed, is that you can over engineer it in my mind. And what are we trying to do here? Right? Why
Right.
are we trying? And so and I'm telling you, it's not the right call. That's just where I am. So everything but and I guess what I end up finding is that we figure it out
And I think that can be
eventually.
true. And it's just
Yeah.
like all of these things, right? Like I'm sure as Dave's listening to some of these interactions with Navia, he's not thinking, boy, this would be a great spot for Jim to throw in a goblin.
Mhm.
So at any point there will
Yeah.
probably be something that will make that work. It's just that for me, I feel like her story was very much parallel to
Yeah.
what I have in my mind for this character that's sort of sitting on deck.
Yeah.
But
Well, go ahead.
now I lived. I made it.
You're
Osric
the
lives
you're
boy
the
who
character
lives.
that
fight
lives.
We
again.
saved our sword boy.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
And the other thing I think it's interesting is, we've also established a little bit of lore, is that there's no goblins, or at least no halflings in Hollows, right? And how do we know that? Is because the midwife, at least recently, has
Mhm.
not been a part of any of the births there, which is interesting, which obviously ties,
Well-
for those of you familiar with the lore, ties to the goblins as well.
Or it could
So,
be that they do their birthing in secret and she's not allowed to
well,
help
that's
them.
the other
Secret,
part, right? That's a
yeah.
big part of the halfling lore, is that they
I
would they
was
ever
going to
go to her?
say, do we want to talk about that lore for viewers that may not be familiar with it?
Yeah, there's some spoilers there for you
Okay.
watching. I mean, I will tell you that it doesn't, there's might be some GMs that maybe wouldn't want you to know that, but I think I don't think that the game loses anything by knowing that lore. But that's a good call, Brian. That's a good call. It's one of I will tell you that when I got the first books and I started flipping through it, it's when I knew this game was different.
Right.
Yeah.
When I started reading, because really all the kin, like like all the kin have really dark parts of their
Mhm.
history, and I just thought it was really neat. But I had never seen anything like the dark secrets, behind the halflings and the goblins. It was very, very interesting. So wishes, Jim. Did we do
So
that?
I'm going to start with a couple stars.
Oh, star.
Uh,
Sorry.
First of all,
the
his wish is clearly that Osric dies. We
Yeah,
just
I mean,
heard that.
obviously, we've established
obviously
that.
that's the answer, is that Osric
He's
must
ready to
now
go
somehow
goblin
die,
mode.
and I get to go goblin mode. That's definitely. I hate to say it's a wish because it's really not. Like I love Osric the character, but this little goblin is just floating around going.
He's
But
calling to you.
but
Release
me,
me.
Jim.
but I
Pick
could take
me.
healing and do foraging things. It'd be so cool. Um,
And then he rolls 7 successes with Rustbite.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
so for a couple stars, I think that like the interaction between Aldrich and Navia,
Your VF.
and the interactions where like Navia told, I want to say she told Sten that this was harpy disease, and like
No, I think
I don't
Sten
know if
told her
anybody
that.
else was watching Aldrich when that happened, but
Mhm.
I
I
was.
did.
Yeah,
I
that's
did.
great.
Yeah.
And Aldrich was deeply moved and concerned about this, and you could definitely tell. And so that was a real star moment for me, was where he was like, oh my god, I can't believe she lied for me, this woman that I've only
Or at
just met."
least didn't correct Sten.
Right,
I think
right,
is what was coming
right.
across.
And it's
And
like,
yeah,
and
this-
we knew, we the players knew
I'm-
that she knew.
right.
I'm glad my look of shame
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was
came
beautiful.
across.
That was
'cause
beautiful.
That is exactly how Aldrich was, just like,
Yeah.
And I also think that moment where the triple or so empathy loss like broke Vasilla and Dave was a great moment. I don't know why, it
Yeah.
was just silly and funny. Where it's like I want to tell you how she's frustrated, and I'm so frustrated that I can't. Which
Yeah,
is such
it
a Dave
was-
thing.
It is a very big thing.
So those are my stars. I think as far as wishes and things I'd like to keep seeing, I think that Navia represents a bit of hope in the world.
Mm.
And when you mentioned the pennant, the first thing I thought was that it was the same kind of pennant, which is not the same thing that everyone else heard, which was that it was the literal same pennant.
Yeah, so and I should have been clear about that. That is he could tell by the and that's why I put so much detail into the woven rope that was holding the necklace. I wanted to
Mhm.
make it very clear to Aldrich this is or was Sturgis's
And
pennant.
so I may have just missed that particular detail, but so in my mind I was like, oh my god, is she like another kind of Rust brother?
Mm.
It is because I've always sort of been harboring this double Rust brother thing, right? Where there's good Rust brothers and bad Rust brothers. And I was like, maybe she's a good Rust brother, right? That'd be kind of cool. And it's like, well, why does her pennant have blood on it? Maybe he was the good Rust brother and she's actually a bad Rust brother. So it's so many things that could happen there. And then during the break, when you had stepped away, and they said, no, it's the same one. And I was like, oh, well now like
That puts
she's
a different spin
that
on it.
changes things, right? Now she's more assuredly anti-Sturkis, but like I still don't know that Sturkis was super bad. Like
Mm.
he
I
definitely
don't.
did not want us in town, but we were not exactly great
We were
people.
causing some problems.
So
I don't know that necessarily makes her anti-Sturkis necessarily though.
Maybe she wears it in memory of him.
Right?
there you go.
It
became
could
clear
mean so
because
many things.
it could mean anything, right? But I think that as a healer, as someone who travels and does things, I think she represents a bit of hope, and I think that the anti-Rust brotherness is also just this. It's like a ray of hope, if that makes sense. And so I like that touch of hope for us in terms of it's not just always going to be Rust brothers killing us or hunting
We
us.
basically have midwife, Nervia and Vivi.
Yes.
Yeah, we're up to 3 in our 2 weeks of travel. We have
Dave,
3 decent human beings.
Dave, did you have any thoughts about this token? Because it was we kind of skipped over that.
Yeah, at least for Dave's thinking, like if you're anti-Rust brother, you're okay with me because f those dudes. So like with blood on it, I'm just assuming that she's murdered the dude or like gotten a tiff with him, especially because she had to leave the hollows for a little while, right? And I'm
Yeah,
assuming
there was a lot of unspoken in that I had to leave
Yeah.
right,
because they
and
found her dead.
There was a
right,
lot
and
of
like
details we don't know about her, but
A lot of
you
passive
know,
voice.
and then she had like a motherly vibe to her, which I enjoyed. Like was a nice interaction, I thought,
Yeah.
especially for where I've got Vasil pegged in my mind historically, and like in the hollows that I had played before, like the Rust, like we didn't know anything about the Rust brothers, so I
I
don't
don't.
have
You
like
guys never brushed up against them that much. I think in our home game,
no. So as
he
far as
played a
I'm
much
concerned,
bigger
they're
role with these guys.
yeah, they're just like demon worshipping vessels, right? Like
Yeah.
that are trying to gain power. So like if she doesn't like them, super pro.
All right, Brian. Thoughts and commentary, then we'll get to stars and wishes.
Sure. Well, the one thing I wanted to mention is that you know, there has been a lot of kind of a running gag about me trying to get Sten killed in a lot of ways, and
Where did we get that idea from?
yeah, I know it's weird.
Yeah.
I want to make clear that Brian loves Sten and wants to be playing him for another 20
Yeah,
sessions. or
and Jim
more.
loves Osric.
Yeah. But
the old men are ready to retire.
what was really interesting for me is when you described, and I don't know if this was just luck or if you had gone back and looked at my character history, because Sten's dark secret is that he had, like 25 years ago when his wife and daughter were killed, he had a scar from the demon that he ran into in the forest, and it was on his left arm, on his left forearm. So when you described that as being where the wound was, that kind of all came back for
Oh, that
Sten,
makes me happy.
and it's just so had you looked that up?
Yeah.
Did you? Okay. Well played, sir. And so ever since then he's like, well, this is it. This is how it all comes back
Yeah.
around. So I mean, he doesn't intend to sit here and let this thing kill him. He actually is going to have a difficult choice next session as to whether he goes into town and potentially is contagious, or if he has to kind of come clean to the group. But basically, his state is, if I'm going to get through this, I have to do it myself.
And you're not wrong.
And
I
he's
mean,
stubborn old bastard, as we've learned. So
Yeah.
that's kind of his thing. I did also want to give quick props to Jim, because playing the entire session, or virtually the entire session, unable to do anything other than grunt and crawl. Thanks for sticking with us, man. The building a fire scene was great.
Yeah, and if you need any tips on how to do that in Forbidden Lands, just talk to Nick Westbrook. And apparently he's paid for like 4 pro GM like Forbidden Lands games, and in every one he gets broken in the first 10 minutes and spends the entire session he paid for crawling around. All right, so stars for you, Brian. First star.
Well, yeah, I would have to give it to the moment between Vasilla and Nervia about midwifery and halfling births,
That was
because
pretty
that
good.
was just such a beautiful. Hey, so you know how our births are weird? You don't. Okay, bye. That was just.
Do you like
that
New
was
Coke?
absolutely beautiful. I mean, because
Yeah.
Brian knows the lore about it, and it was a lot of
What's
fun.
better, Alien or Aliens?
And I tried to be especially awkward because my empathy was shit, right?
No, it was
like,
perfect.
It was good.
beautiful.
It was good, Dave.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, how about wishes as a player, Brian? What are you kind of hoping for? We're headed back to the Halls, it seems.
I mean, yeah, and I'm kind of excited to see what happens when we, for the first time, kind of revisit a place we've been before and see the world moving. From a wishes perspective, I mean, obviously it's a little selfish as a player. I hope Sten gets better.
Yeah.
But honestly, I want to kind of see, because obviously this whole thing with the harpies and the disease derailed us rather badly from our original plan. I really want to find out what's going on with the golden-eyed bird
Mm,
and see if whatever is going on here, we decide that we're going to head back to the mines, which was our next destination. But honestly, I enjoy these players. I enjoy these characters. I
Yeah,
enjoy your
we're having
GMing.
fun.
I just want to keep doing it.
yeah, me too. All right, guys. Fun episode. We are not waiting 5 weeks to play again. In fact, we're playing a week from Thursday. So October 6th is we are back at 8 o'clock Eastern. So we're going to see episode 20, which was not a guarantee. And we're going to see what happens as they're on the outskirts of the Hollows. You guys know the routine, like, follow, blah, 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 blah. Love you, mean it. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.